All right, just a brutal night in San Diego sports. In the matter of like a minute, the span of a minute, Padres lose 7-4. Bogarts with the ground out with the bases loaded, and then SDFC gives up the lead. Well, not gives up the lead. It was tied 3-3, and then it was 4-3 on the second goal from Ponce, I think, there from Houston. That was a really entertaining match. SDFC there, and this Padres game could have been more entertaining. There were some entertaining moments, some interesting moments, but ultimately, it was lost earlier in the game where Stephen Kolek just wasn't good enough with his pitch location. And the Texas Rangers were able to take advantage of it. First pitch of the game, way too much of the plate. I don't know if that was just hey, let's try to get ahead of the count, and that didn't work. Josh Smith with the homer to right. Crony with the homer, though, gave the Padres the lead. Then Higgy, it was the Kyle Higashioka show. Talk about a homecoming back to San Diego. Man, it just makes you think, like, why couldn't they sign Higgy back? I remember being pissed off about this, and I think this allows me to continue to be pissed off about this. I know Higgy's not having the best year overall, but he may have just been one of those players that it just worked with the Padres. Because that homer tonight was his second home run on the year. That's it. Two home runs. And I think he had 17 in the regular season last year, and then he had multiple in the postseason as well. I think he got up to 20, including the postseason. You got Elias Diaz, who has, I think, 11 runs driven in this year, something like that. And Higgy's pretty close to that. He got pretty close, actually, in this game. Where's the RBI total? Where is it? Five. Five RBIs from Higgy in this game. I know, like, he's hitting ninth. I get it. On the year now, he has 21 runs driven in. And it's not like his numbers are great. 621 OPS, 232 average. Like, if he's going to do that with the Padres, then yeah, the Padres probably dodged the Higgy bullet there, the amount of money. But we know that it worked with the pitching, and I was fine with him behind the plate. And offensively, obviously, it worked at Petco. So to have him come in here, and it's not surprising, right? It's the former Padre. That's just what happens. But he comes in here, hits a homer into the Higgy bank. And then it wasn't just that. It was, I know it's called hit and run, but really run and hit. Well executed run and hit there, gets the ball on the ground, opposite way, second base. Iglesias isn't there. He was more shaded towards second base and gets it through there. And that was, I believe that's the one that made it 5-2. And yeah, like Kolek again, sack fly from Higgy, made it 6-2. And then another one, RBI single, 7-4. And it was just one of those nights, especially from Kolek, where it's not like he walked a lot of guys, but you can see by the strikeouts, only two strikeouts, gave up a couple of homers. Like, he just wasn't able to execute his pitches well enough. Now, also, I did want to point out that on some of these pitches where Diaz was setting up, it's like, well, Kolek barely missed. It's pretty much where Diaz wanted it, where his glove was. So is that on Kolek? Is that on Diaz? Probably a combination of both. Does Diaz actually set up? Like, does he put his glove where he wants Kolek to actually throw the ball? Or maybe that's the release point. Because some pitchers, they want to throw it there. Some people want to look at the glove and they know it's not going to end up there. Like, the catcher knows it's not going to end up there, but that's the reference point. That's where the pitcher wants to look at and to really get that pitch off if it's like a breaking ball, for example. Now, these pitches that got hit, they weren't all, curveballs down, right? They were, fastballs that just got too much of the plate. But I did notice that where it was like maybe an inch, couple inches off from where Diaz was even set up. But, like, bottom line, still 6 earned runs. A little surprised he pitched into the sixth inning, but with the stretch of games the Padres are on, because they don't have a day off now until the All-Star break, you want to get as much as you can from Kolek. So he ends up, I mean, for the amount of runs that he allowed, and like the hits, 9 hits, 83 pitches, that's it. working into the 6th inning there. But yeah, I was disappointed by that performance tonight, for sure. Now, we can talk about the offense, obviously, and at the end there, Bogarts with the bases loaded. It was good to see him in the lineup today, by the way, because obviously he came out with the cramps yesterday, and we'll see if there's any deep dive the Padres end up doing with the Bogart situation there, like Schultz said post game last night. But he comes up today, bases loaded at the end there, and he swings at a pitch that's like 3 feet inside and almost hits him. And fans are going to look at that and be probably irritated that, like, why are you swinging at that pitch? I'm not even that mad about that. I'm just more mad about the result, obviously, the ground ball. Because, like, that is, like, Sean Armstrong there, that is a nasty pitch. You know, when you don't have much time to react, obviously it looked like it was going to be middle into Bogarts. That's why he swung. And it just kept going inside on him and got him. That was the whole purpose of that pitch, and it happened. So, you know, the Rangers executed there, and Kolek just didn't do as good of a job as someone even like Patrick Corbin, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Remember when Patrick Corbin was awful with the Nationals? So he's kind of turned it around, it seems like, with the Texas Rangers. You know, the Padres, that bases loaded situation earlier, they got a couple sac flies to get the game closer to 6-4 there, Merrill and Manny. Would have liked to get a little bit more out of that. They left 10 guys on base tonight. Rangers left 6, 1 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Luis Ariz, did want to shout him out, though. He had a 4-hit night, 4 for 5, average up now to 290. Like, he did his job. He contributed there, spraying some balls opposite way. That was good to see. But, yeah, just had some opportunities, I think, where they sort of came through right on the sac flies, but probably could have came through more, did more damage. And then in that 9th inning there, who was it that got the single? It must have been Ariz, right? Or was it Jackson? Let me double check that. Because I was going back and forth. I had the SDFC game on the TV, and on my laptop I had this Padre game on. And there was 17 minutes of stoppage time in that SDFC game because CJ Dos Santos had the blood on him, and they had to change his kit and all that. It just took a while. Let's see. Yeah, it was Merrill with the single. Manny struck out. A Rise single. That's what it was. And so, because you had Maldonado on third, and at that time, maybe some were thinking, like, why is Tyler Wade not pinch running there when Maldonado gets on base? Well, that run doesn't matter, technically. What I mean by that is the run that matters the most is the runner on first, and that's why Tyler Wade ended up pinch running for Luis Ariz on first, because he would have been the game-time run. You don't want to you don't want to waste the pinch running for Maldonado when if Wade scores there, you're still down by 2, you know? So that was that. And yeah, you had the bases loaded there, and props to Sean Armstrong for getting Bogarts to do what he wanted Bogarts to do. So frustrating. You know, with Kolek and that performance tonight, I think it goes back to like the state of this rotation. And just there's question marks. You know, you have Dylan Cease, you have Nick Pivetta, and then after that, what do you have? And even with Dylan Cease, there's question marks there with him. So, yeah. Darvish, it seems like they're going to get him back this next week. And then Michael King, we'll see. I think the latest update was that he's throwing, but, like, he's not, like, I know he hasn't started throwing bullpens yet. I definitely would have seen more tweets and stuff about that. So it's more of a question mark with King. Schultz today in the pregame media, it sure seems like he knows that Darvish is going to come back during that D-back series this next week. So that'll be good news. Because, you know, like right now, like I just said, you got Pivetta, but after that, there's question marks. You know, Vasquez and Kolek can put together good starts. When Waldron's up, might be able to. But if you're talking about postseason, and who's going to be starting these games. Sure, the Padres can make additions. Preller can make additions to the rotation. But sure, you're going to send Dylan Cease out there, but are you confident in Dylan Cease, let's say, at Dodger Stadium in the NLDS? I don't know how confident I am in Dylan Cease right now. And it's sad to say, but that's just what it is. He hasn't been, you look at the track record, and just now, he just hasn't been consistent enough for me to be like, oh, yeah, I'm super confident in Dylan Cease. I'm confident in Pavetta. After that, though, it's kind of just like, we'll see what we can get from these guys today. We'll see who starts tomorrow, by the way. Could be Kyle Hart, I think. But there hasn't been like a announcement or anything there. Nunez will probably be sent down. But yeah, just a brutal night. SDFC had the lead a couple of times. Then it was 3-3, then 4-3. And yeah, Houston, man, they're an easy team to dislike. Like, I know, like, we talk about the rivalry, Galaxy, LAFC maybe, with location, right? But Houston, talk about a team that is easy to hate, at least tonight. Like, getting in CJ Dos Santos' face after making the PK, when it's like, what did CJ do to you? I love CJ, by the way. Like, that guy takes the hit to the nose. He's on the ground, on his knees, and he's, blood going down onto the grass. You can see. And he's like, no, I'm staying in this game. I'm good. The doctor comes, because the doctor had to, doing his job before the PK. He's like, no, I'm good. And he runs to, like, show, like, I'm good. My head's good. Obviously, the PK was made. But, like, yeah, that was, he's a warrior. He wants to be out there. Love that guy. And, Alosky scores again. SDFC, they're an entertaining team. Really fun team to watch for sure. So maybe you were able to get out there, or you were at the Padre game, and maybe you'll be watching the highlights back of the SDFC match later tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, it stinks because Houston's, I think, they entered today, 10th in the Western Conference in points, and obviously SDFC is one of the best teams in the league, period. SDFC, they got Godoy back. They got Patty McNair back today. Chucky seems like he's building up his minutes. So things are trending in the right direction despite the loss. So it's definitely not the end of the world. And getting back to the Padres, like, talking about not the end of the world, losing tonight, like, same thing. If they're kind of like doing this where they stay 6-7 games over 500, and let's see what happens, what additions they make before the deadline, get some guys back, I feel like they could get to, 10 games over 500. And I wouldn't think that some of these guys in the offense are going to keep struggling the way that they have. And so I think we could definitely see the Padres trending in the right direction as well. So yeah, that's what I've got tonight. I plan on going live tomorrow. Padres will finish up this Rangers series, Sunday Night Baseball. There's 2 games on ESPN. I think Cardinals, Cubs, and then the 6 o'clock game is us, Padres and Rangers. So after that, I plan on going live and talking to Padres fans about hopefully a win tomorrow night, because this one was disappointing.